Okay, this should be a good one.
And it's
See what we got, brother.
I've known you for a few years now, and I know how hard it is.
Yeah,
I
buddy.
know what you,
For some
I
reason,
know
I'm a
what you
battle
go
buddy.
through because I deal with it, right? I've dealt with you before when you were dealing
Trying
with
to
it.
get points on the monster.
I've dealt with you when you were relapsing and really high too, you know. So I know you. I know what you're going through. I understand, even though I'm not feeling what you're feeling.
Why
I
not arrest
understand
me?
what you're going through. I really do.
I mean, that would be there. I would be here. Me, I'm at this
Because they
point.
can get you into an apartment.
Take a piece of metal and toss it in there. And maybe they'll figure out how to use it into a lever. Which would get us back to the street and the Masons in general. And this is where it's, I bitch all the time. All the time. Except for something like this. This is that kind of 42-edness when I look at Sarge and I tell him, oh, would you like me to bang your wife, please? And just tell her to come on over after dinner tonight and I'll square her away for you. And because it's in town, it is the job. It's within quantifiable limits of what an X is as a worker. And so when you look at their standard models, you'd say, is it beginning to register the inverted on square law? When you see somebody on the street, this area right here is Shangri-La. We can grid this no problem, ZBrush or on a piece of graph paper on a whiteboard in an office. MiG-1 to MiG-2, taking corners, trying to figure out techniques. And there's an X to the gas station, equally like there's an X to the stoplight area, or any other value inside of there, because my business would have been right here working. And in the same way they come in and there's a bunch of different ones for it that work in the same. I said a differential between red and blue because a lot of factory workers get that, and we do the factory workers models, and this should be beneficial from a point of view of what that is if you're going to listen to this. That says there's a differential when I said that this was red speed comparatively to blue in an Andromeda's paradox.
Thank you for watching.
Now, that can become something different. If I'm the Milky Way, then yes, the weak force of that number moving faster, bigger, is still relative in terms of the YF over X charge. If distance is a squishy zone and it correlates time in a real physical space, like you make different decisions, you obviously chose to jump an obstacle or something, then this becomes congruent in math to why if I could graph that, then those same standards are worked. And so this becomes a working joules of collecting photons in an NTF. This is a skid steer safety video analysis to becoming beneficial from those points of views, but as a trainee you may not understand that. Just being some hillbilly as a board mason right now, because that's what I can quantify. You would say, I have a lot of skills. Now, how do I begin to develop this in town given the circuitry? I see you, buddy. Inside of what happens here. Well, first thing, there's an idealization of, this could go to psychologists. This could go to an arresting standard of renormalization. I would talk to you like this, and I was like, well, which of these things, any of those things seem more beneficial than any other ones? Because of the best of options that we have, what we have is this, because I could call that and we could say, well, we could find out whether checking off the list at X first, arresting, no, we are here, no. And so now it's a real job. Now this is where the real 10% of physical jobs, all right, what is 42 telling me here about what the differential is? Now, they might know most of the answers are limited by the sector, where this is trying to determine this door or that door of options. And it doesn't matter which two doors. You could put one in front of you 20 minutes later after banging it out. Well, here's another one. But it's still the original, go back to X, it's called universe, on any kind of Salty's Lou that he's pulling in Zeus's office. You know, who knows? I wasn't there. Prometheus showed up, man. We got wild. Whatever happened out here. Because that's what happened out there. You know how I like say I got math problems? I got math problems. And you will work them like brilliantly. You're going to put you.
Okay, I understand. But is he going through an episode?
Yeah, more games than Milton Bradley, that's for sure. I can get pretty full entertainment in here. When you're getting into that, like I said, usually you have a lot of momentum behind it. There are incidents. This is the same incident as me talking to really anybody at any point in time. Maybe not. Well, it is the old man when I'm thinking about it. Like, could I say the parents, the old man, the dog? No, I can't. Honestly, there are limitations to what those things are set to. When we look all evenly at trajectories, like in 5 what do you think about judo? There you go. Certainly going to pose on the pie chart and demographics. Well, these ones said this. Would that influence your decision-making processes? Here's information that may not have been posed in a situation like that. You ever get into the ambulance and feel better? Or get to the ER because you're sick shit or something, broken arm or something? You feel fine now? Yeah. Yeah.
How do you steal it?
Yeah, like I said, there's a little thing about, every place I've ever been through, there's a thing about guys showing up for work. Now, this is tough because I have to hillbilly spinner her. I've done laundry folding facilities. Where is it? Is this at the laundromat where I have to camp her out there with a sign for $5, fold your laundry until she gets by and figures enough people? I mean, maybe there's enough in just the general gravity around here. It looks pretty. Not Hancock, anyways. I mean, I think I could get away with it maybe, but that's one. And if there's anything else in this demographic, and 2 of these guys going off at the same time to put that one in that position, what happens? You gotta have some kind of administration system. You have to have some kind of way to cycle through that material, not perfectly, but to get it refined down to a point where, alright, the physical calc, 7-footers come out the saw once every month and a half. And wood plank 8-footers, 2 a day, cants out the back. But 7-footers come up once. Sometimes I have to create a new form. Honestly, it might change the leisure if I'm working the graders numbers different. I want to cut leisure that you sign off with Matt at the end of the day. Like I said, and then you kind of go to the ROCs of the psych positions and what we have in here, and I don't see the improvement. You know what I mean? Calculus would say that I've understood the problem, schizophrenia, homeless, or anything else, by definition, with the spectrum of what the motion position gives me by vector positions right here on the NTF beginning of the universe to the NTF end. The value of what it was determined here and here at this point in time before I check in her today. Like, I know this happened right now, and it's not even done yet. But I'll check in her today. There's a different value. And that might F1 plus F2 equals minus F1 the standard a little bit. And that doesn't necessarily mean negative. It doesn't have to be negative. Remember, they're photons in superposition. It could be either of those things. But there's an imaginary Minkowskian ... brick inside here, which is it is always there. It was the hard line on expansion and kind of dealing with the wave operator. Because right now they're up. They're down. Clearly procedures, right? Judge Dredd, you come in.